Great. So a bit about me. I am Marisol Fernandez y Mora. I'm a Latina. I live in New Mexico. My family's been from here for a long time. I'm 21 years old. I'm a college student out of state, but I come back every summer to work with New Energy Economy. We're a local nonprofit and we're an environmental advocacy organization, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do and the campaigns we're focused on right now. So in New Mexico, we have PNM, the Public Service Company of New Mexico, and they are what we call a regulated monopoly utility. Do people know what that is? Okay, so just in case, no, okay, great. A regulated monopoly is a company that doesn't actually have any real competition, and they're regulated by a government body. So PNM is the sole provider of energy to most of New Mexico, which means they haven't had a lot of reason to change with the times, and that includes around the energy they use. So they have what we call the San Juan coal-fired power plant. It's one of the dirtiest in the nation. It uses, I think, over 6 billion gallons of water a year, and it makes up 60% of our energy portfolio. So when you turn on a light in New Mexico, 60% of that energy is coal. The rest of that is mostly nuclear, gas, and we are a state that has only 2% wind and even less, 2% solar and even less wind in our energy portfolio. That's really ridiculous because we have the second best energy potential in the country, second only to Arizona, where you guys were yesterday. We're the only southwestern state not in the top 10 for solar energy production, and that's because PNM hasn't been forced to update their energy. What are we doing about this right now? PNM was forced, partially thanks to our organization, to shut down two of their 4 units of the coal-fired power plant. We loved that. Yes, thank you. That was a fantastic win. It felt great. Here's the problem. They came back with a replacement power plan and they said, all right, this is what we're going to replace that energy with. Let's get some more coal. Let's get some nuclear from out of state, so we'll create no new jobs for you, and we'll also incorporate it into our fixed rates, and it's the most expensive energy in the nation, and it was bought from a really bad business deal, by the way, that they wanted to stick us with. And we're actually not going to put up any more new solar or wind, even though we have such a capacity for it in New Mexico. So our organization heard about this and said, absolutely not, and we began the process of appealing this replacement power plan. It went to the PRC, the Public Regulatory Commission, which is the government body that's meant to be tasked with regulating PNM. The truth is they've been in bed with PNM, as we know a lot of government is with big business, for a really long time. And so they're used to rubber stamping whatever PNM says. When PNM says, we want more coal, and no, we won't give you more solar, they say, all right. When they say, we're going to raise rates on New Mexicans, even though the top 5 people in our company make $9 million a year, the PRC says, great. By the way, New Mexico is a state that faces a lot of income inequality. Poverty is a huge issue for us. And what's worse is, where that power plant is placed is on the Navajo Nation. Now, people on the Navajo Nation live off of about $7,000 a year. And I want you to think about the fact of what I just said a minute earlier, which is that the top 5 executives at PNM make $9 million. So compare that to the $7,000 a year that a Navajo family lives on, right next to that power plant, next to that toxic waste. So the PRC still approved the replacement power plan. And because we don't give up easily, New Energy Economy responded by saying, absolutely not, we're going to take you all the way up to the Supreme Court. And we are at the New Mexico Supreme Court right now. We're filing our brief on Friday. This is Jeff and Rosa. Yes. This is Marielle, our executive director's husband, and her wonderful daughter. They're with us today. Marielle is unfortunately not unfortunately for us, but she can't be here because she's really hard at work getting this brief done as we continue to fight this huge company with resources gathered from the community. So we are taking all of the strength we can from the community and everyone's support, and we are absolutely not going to let this replacement power plan go through. We're going to switch to renewables. We're going to do it in a way that creates healthy jobs for people. We're going to do it for a way that's equitable for people of color who are disproportionately affected by climate change. And we're going to start changing the way that energy works, first in New Mexico and then nationwide. So, that is a bit about us. I'm happy to take questions. I'm happy to tell you guys more about the history of our organization, and I'm happy to lead activities on what energy looks like in your communities and how you can help lead the fight for a more sustainable future. Okay, so I'm going to open up for questions. If you have questions about what's going on specifically in New Mexico, that's great. And if you also have questions about the energy movement as a whole, ask me. I might not be as knowledgeable, but if I know the answer, I'll share it and we can always brainstorm together. So, are there any questions? Yes?
What can I do immediately? Like,
Immediately.
Here, like, what can I do to really, being that I'm going to be going on the road and leaving for the next stop, like, what can people do sitting or living their daily lives that can really affect them?
Absolutely. What you can do is, the state you're from, see what environmental organizations are doing out there. You know, New Mexico is not unique in the fact that climate change and unequitable energy sources affect mostly people of color, poor people. So make sure that your activism is involving those communities. They're the most vulnerable and usually the ones whose voices aren't heard as much. So definitely do that. In terms of what we're doing, we're about to file with the Supreme Court. We are working with about 3 lawyers total, and mostly 1, right?
3 or 4, yeah.
We're working with 3 or 4 lawyers. PNM has a team of lawyers just focused on this case. So they have so many more resources and so much more time to put into this. So if you donate to us, and I'll give you our card that has our website, and you can look on your phones, it's New Energy Economy, it's super easy. If all of you donated $5 or whatever you could, that would be incredible, because that means that we get to pay for more advertising to get the word out. And if you share it with your friends and say, hey, I stopped in New Mexico and they're dealing with this totally messed up company, please pay attention to them. That would be fantastic, because one of the biggest things facing us is that these big companies control the airwaves, they control the television and the media sources, and so we can't get our message out as easily because we just don't have the amount of money they have. So if you want to help us with that, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Please tweet. We have a Facebook group, New Energy Economy, and we also have a Twitter, New Energy Economy. Yes. So share us, tweet at us, Facebook us, do anything you can for us, and that would be fantastic. Our biggest barrier is getting our message out to the right people and working against the corruption within the state government and within these big companies. And for those of you who are from Santa Fe, please keep up with us, and also please pay attention to your local elections.